I'm actually going to create this one using iMovie, because then I'm going to try and upload it to YouTube in case this turns out to be a really long video. You know, let's just play with it. I don't need a justification. So here we are in the Red Hook neighborhood of Brooklyn, one of the 5 boroughs of New York City. We are hanging out at the very end of the map, more or less, very near. We've got a really good view of the Vescano Bridge, the Statue of Liberty. You can see downtown Manhattan, at least the tops of the taller buildings from our area, but most of the Manhattan skyline is obstructed by the warehouses that are in this little area. See if she wants a treat. You give him one treat? What about these treats? I've been giving her jerky, so I don't know how she's gonna feel about biscuits. I'm gonna let this traffic clear out. So this is just a couple of blocks from where we started, and we're at the Amazon facility here. Which butts right up to the water. Here's some of the boats, a couple of the ferries that we've seen earlier, and then just the next block over will be IKEA. I've been trying to sort out what these are. I've seen a few of them around the city. Pretty sure this is going to be 5G or whatever is most current. I'm just now seeing the link NYC, so I'm guessing that's either like, yeah. That's probably what that little cutout is for, right? The signal. That I've also got Wi-Fi a couple of places that I've been, although not quite as ubiquitous as I might have asked for. I'm not picky, that's why I get unlimited data, but with the carrier that I have now, that data gets choked out, winds up being slower than just not having anything at all. So, say what you will about my data dependency, but these are the times we live in, I suppose. So we're right here at the end of the, Amazon building. You can see some of these warehouses, and I don't know, you've probably seen these a few places, but these make me think of Wilmington, Delaware. They got a little park. It was new development when I was there, which would have been like 2008, I suppose. But same era of cranes for these docks. These docks aren't used the way they were back then. They're still very much in use, obviously, but this is much more residential area than it is now. Brooklyn Tower, I think I'm calling that right, which is something like in the neighborhood of 1,000 feet tall, whatever that is in meters. Looks like we might be getting some weather. Now, I'm sure you're wondering why IKEA. It's not like I've got any furniture shopping to do. Well, a couple of reasons actually. Cheap ice cream, cheap coffee, which probably drink too much of right now, but it's here, so I'm going to take advantage of it. Also Swedish meatballs, and you're saying, yeah, but aren't you vegetarian? Yes, I am, but they also have vegetarian meatballs. And that's what I plan on taking advantage of. That, as well as just, it seems like I wanted to check out the why can't I think of the word? The ferry that we saw going across the water there earlier, just to see what that was about. See if there's a ferry that you can just pull up to Manhattan for this, like a little free ferry. The American Indian, some sort of cost associated with it. You either have to pay, you're probably going to have to pay for the ferry ride. But I would like to confirm that. And upon further inspection here, I can also see that this IKEA has an underground parking garage, which can really come in handy when the weather is extreme. Rain is not so much of a concern. But scorching heat and sunlight is. There's a view for you. Especially with a dog. The other thing is I plan on bringing her in the carrier, and I want to test that out as much as anything else, just to make sure that they're going to let her come inside with me if she's not having to walk on the ground. So we're going to check that out, and then we'll know. And then if nothing else, you know. Oh, and then of course, you know, there's restrooms everywhere, but it's nice to know where all of the restrooms are relative to your position, just so you have one when you need one. Okay, we made it. Success. My back is gonna be jacked up. I'm gonna have to figure out something to do with this. Hey, but not a bad view though, right? Okay, lunch was successful at IKEA. We're out here on some of these docks now, just seeing what there is to see. Looks like one of those IKEA ferries. Now, there was an advertisement on the PA, public address system in IKEA, that said that this ferry runs like Saturdays and Sundays, or Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, or maybe that's when it's free, or I'm not sure exactly what. I didn't investigate too much, but I know that this is the ferry. Just so happens to be pulling in on a not Saturday or Sunday. Which that's what we came back here to find. We ended up on this pier, but I wasn't even that ambitious about seeing one of these ferries since it wasn't in the. Now obviously I've already seen one this morning, as I was showing to somebody earlier, as it was cruising through the what would that be, the harbor. So this one's named the Frank Sinatra. We also met a dog named Frank Sinatra this morning because it had blue eyes. So yeah, that's the ferry. I mean, it's pulling in. I don't know if it's gonna have passengers or not. I can't imagine it would be operating empty. Yes, ma'am. I wanted to get a picture of you here, Luna, if we can. And then we'll see what's up with that ferry, or at least go over there and see if we see a schedule. Hey, there's a nice view of the city. Let's get a little view of the city real quick. Figure it out. Okay, so here's the dock for the IKEA shuttle. Here's the schedule. Here's the routes. Pier 11 on Wall Street and Midtown at 39th Street. And there's your schedule right there. So it's free on Saturdays and Sundays, July 6th through September 1st. And then the rest of the time, rest of the year, and the rest of the week, it's like $5 each way. Not bad. Not bad. Probably the cheapest way you're gonna get from point A to point B. Almost definitely the fastest. Last Chatton's 10. All right. Well, there we are. I think we're wrapping up here. Some fashion icons strolling through the IKEA landscape. Dig it. I think we're gonna head down to Atlantic Avenue and see some more of what Brooklyn has to offer. Ready, Luna? You ready to do a little hiking? All right, quick little e-bike ride to Atlantic in downtown Brooklyn. Well, I don't know if it's downtown technically, but little e-bike ride down here. Spend all of our life savings on e-bike rides. Solid financial investment. Is this guy turning or what? That's why he was blinking, letting me know to stop. And then we'll be down there for sunset, I'm sure. That's kind of the plan. We'll see how it goes. We focus on these streets. Drama free. All right, word. Okay, originally we were going to go down Court Street to Trader Joe's, and that was going to be our starting point for Atlantic. But Court Street is a one-way street. You're not going to do that. One, I don't know these streets well enough to feel comfortable with all contingencies, doors opening and whatnot, traffic laws, etc. Two, I'm wearing zero protective equipment. Know what I mean? All right. Well, we never made it to Atlantic. We got caught on this street. Obviously, we couldn't take the first one. Columbus? No, it wasn't Columbus. Whatever it was a one-way traffic. So we weren't going to do that. So we ended up on this street, which runs parallel. It's just right next door to us. And there's all these shops. This is like a little Montrose. We just got some postcards for the kids. No, that's a bun. Just got some postcards for the kids. I see Pacific, so I gotta think the next block or two after that is Atlantic. We may make it down there, we may not. We may end up being right here because I see a espresso bar, and then there's another place back here that also looked like it might have. I actually stopped here because of the t-shirts. Unfortunately, or fortunately, this Gowanus swim team shirt is the only one that's in my very specific brand of t-shirts that I want to wear now. So they probably have that in my size, and I'll ask them if I don't find another shirt. The rest of those are Bella Canvas, which is fine. I just don't, as hard as I wear my shirts, those Bellas don't hold up quite as well as that Next Level brand. So I'm gonna see if I don't find another Next Level brand. Otherwise, these are all cool shirts. Oh, Brooklyn, enjoy Brooklyn, Coke. There's Brooklyn with the shoes over there. I don't know how bad that glare is. Gowanus swim team, which that's fine. I like the color. I like the graphic. I've got my qualms about the not knowing one how to pronounce that. Which sure you could ask, but then I'm too childish. That's a cool one, but again, that was a Bella Canva. My little Joey is chilling in the pouch, but again, that's just wrecking my back, so she's having to be slung to the back, which is fine. I just don't know how comfortable she is. Oh, look, it's a little pigeon. I also had books of pigeons. I wish I should have done a tour of that one, of that store. There's a Dolly Parton crochet kit. Hilarious. So we're gonna see what else there is to see. Exit 9 is the name of that store, by the way, if it matters to you. Foot massage, back rub, that may be in order. They actually have these robot massage things here. I say here in New York, that have been popping up since I've been opening the gram here, which I'm tempted to. I don't know. It's like $75 for half an hour. I don't care about it being a robot. I'm very curious to see how it works, though. But let's go see about this. Now, where did I just see that? I know I'm not tripping. Okay, Swedish espresso bar. There's a little flag hanging over it, but you can only see it when you're looking at it perpendicular. Okay, so that was Smith Street. There's some other name on there. What is that? That's what's frustrating me. I keep looking it up and it doesn't show that name. So I guess we have two different names for the same street now. I'm sure that's not confusing for anyone. And now we're on Atlantic, so we only ended like a block or so away, and we're going to go through downtown Brooklyn. We probably have a little bit of a hike ahead of us. We'll see. And hey, can I get you? Looks like marzipan. Got a little hike ahead of us, and then we'll see how we're feeling after that. As far as getting back to the crib. Following signs for the Brooklyn Bridge. Shout out Planet Fitness. Here's a whole development going in here. Let's see what this looks like in a few years. Okay, well, we were going to head down to the the sunset spot where we've been the last couple of days. I wanted to walk across the Brooklyn Bridge last night and kind of ruled it out just because we were taking it easy that day. We've been walking a lot the last week plus, and it was getting late. Not that we have a curfew or anything necessarily, but Luna was definitely ready to go to sleep. And then of course the image quality just gets I don't even say worse, just more complicated to get right the darker it gets, and not even just lack of light. I had to take pictures of the solar system if there's no light, but man, when there's like lights shining into your camera, it's a pain in the neck. So yeah, I kind of ruled it out. Now we are going to walk the Brooklyn Bridge, methinks, and see how that goes. Luna's gonna get carried for a lot of this, for all the obvious reasons. But we'll see. we'll see how it looks. Anyway, we should be on the bridge in time for sunset. I know it's just around the corner here. And man, from the looks of it, with the weather we've had today, the clouds that are kind of dotting the sky, it's liable to be a really dynamic sunset, which they've all been the last couple of days, and today would make the third night in a row. We've seen some nice ones while we've been here anyway, but yeah, I'll take every single one of them. They're always so different and so life affirming. I don't know. So Manhattan Bridge to our right. We're on the pedestrian lanes for Brooklyn Bridge. Crazy to think people just like walk this all the time. It's not crazy. It's not crazy. I think it's crazy to think that people in other places don't have as many opportunities to walk as people in places like, I don't know, take your pick. Even places like Milwaukee, Kansas City, I felt like it was a lot easier to just decide you wanted to go for a walk. California is certainly a good example for a lot of places, but even if you just want nature, I mean, our friends that live in Folsom, you know, it was just a walk out of the street and down the sidewalk to the edge of a lake. So and then that was a, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 mile lake around Folsom. So that was a nice little hike. And then of course that's nature. This is city. There's not a whole lot of nature going on here. You can walk all day through Central Park. I mean, it's a huge park. So take that for what it's worth. But even just walking, just to stretch your legs and clear your head, all right, we can make an argument about the amount of noise and blah, 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 but this is a must. For me, this is a must. I have to be able to walk like this. I have to be able to walk like this without having to necessarily drive to where, which we watched from right up here where that kind of silver in the light monolithic building is. That's a Manhattan Bridge, and we've been watching from basically right underneath there, or kind of sandwiched between that bridge and the Brooklyn Bridge. And we walked all the way back to where we were sleeping. So it can be done. Yeah, it's probably more walking than a lot of people do typically, but I would bet it's not more than necessarily, I don't know, if you're not, when we took the bike to get down there, we took the bike to get down to where we were in downtown area of Brooklyn as well. So, you know, it's not like we're just avoiding opportunities for more rapid transit. But it's just so easy to walk here. It's just so easy to walk. Luna's little claws are digging into my shoulder. I've got her sling here, but I want her up here for this walk, but I don't want her slung on the front, so I've got her on my shoulders. But I might have to throw her on here for a second. Back where it all started. Long story long, across our trip across the Brooklyn Bridge. We didn't go all the way across. We just went to the midpoint, just there for sunset, you know. All that worked out. That was fine. Luna was nervous, of course, but she actually did really, really well. And was right by my side all the way walking up, and was 10 feet ahead all the way walking back down, because she knew he was getting off that bridge. Anyway, walked down, figured we need to get something to eat. Can't zoom in on this front facing camera, but there's Manhattan for you. I lay down, actually lay down in a park just there at the Brooklyn side of the Brooklyn Bridge, and she was laying on top of me. I was mostly just resting my back. I actually started to nod off, and then Some other dog was playing catch at some point, a couple minutes into our dozing off, and she chased that dog, obviously, bolting off of my torso with her claws. So that was the end of that nap. Started to walk back. Needed to get us both some water. Still haven't got water. I did pass a little barbecue joint though, but the barbecue joint, I just wanted to look at the menu, see what they had, see what prices look like. Anyway, they had, I'm walking myself over here thinking I'm going to walk along the water all the way behind this Amazon building because I've seen people walking back here. But I know that's not the way it's going to work out. I'm going to walk out to that water, realize this little portion cuts all the way in, and then have to walk all the way back up. I'm going to mess up this spider web right here. I don't know if you can see that. I've been trying to... Somebody going to walk right into that bad boy, though. Look, can you see that thing? Yo, where is he? He's in there. I'm not doing a good job of catching him. But, man, they put those webs up fast, I tell you. I tell you what. Yeah, but the barbecue place had breakfast. They were serving breakfast, so I grabbed a breakfast burrito. Well, it wasn't very, we'll see. Let's get them some room, Luna. So, still got that to work on. Anyway, walked down and found one of those e-bikes. Put everything in the little basket, cinched it down, backpack. Luna was in the sling, but the backpack and the food was cinched down in that little basket. And bike didn't work, so I had to get another bike. Got that second bike, got all the way back, almost all the way back. We got on our last leg, which was that last street. I realized I left everything in that other basket, so we had to ride all the way back. That was harrowing. Oh man, the streets are rough when you're plus I was trying to go the most direct route, which was the route that we took, so now I'm going into oncoming traffic. Anyway, got back, everything's there, by the way. It's not nearly as scary as everybody makes it. I'm not saying scary things don't happen. I'm just saying they don't happen all the, there's nothing keeping me from being in harm's way anywhere I go. But generally speaking, people are chill. Anyway, yeah, see, I was going to walk out there thinking I was going to walk behind that Amazon building and have a nice waterside stroll. But I know that those apartments and the park and the grocery store is all gated up and everything. So even if I made it that far, there's no way I was going to be coming out right there. So then we get down here to this stop that's closest to where we're staying. And the bike won't lock. And I tried like every available dock in that little station. Nothing worked. I'm like, I'm going to sit here and try and troubleshoot this on a phone. Let's just find another dock. So we drove to another one near where we got one earlier today, kind of by IKEA. It's not working again. I'm like, I know this ain't going down like this, because now I've already doubled my trip and tripled it, because I came back to the where we were parked, drove all the way back to where we left my backpack, and drove all the way back, and now we're adding extra minutes looking for this other docking station, or to get to it. I mean, it's not hard to find there everywhere, but and now it's not docking. Come on, man. Anyway, the resolution is still whatever the price was for all the extra time on that e-bike. It was still less than having to replace everything that I had nothing of any real substantial value. Phone chargers, charging blocks, some postcards that I got for the nieces and nephews, things like that. Nothing, all my extremely valuable stuff is usually on my person. So, and even that is how valuable. It can be replaced. So now I'm realizing this is a mechanical problem, because I'm like cranking this thing into the docking station. Partially out of frustration, I don't mind admitting to you. Turns out that little there's a little triangle that like slides right into that docking station. Kind of sort of thing you might encounter if you're trying to if you're on a International Space Station trying to dock with a satellite or something like that. Obviously I probably would have ruined the mission with the first 12 attempts, but I finally, cooler heads finally prevail, and I was like, you know what, this is not as hard as I'm making it. It's also not going to get fixed by just slamming it, so that little thing just needed to be lifted up and slid in there. Now, would I've had to do an extra vehicular activity, or what do you call that, EVA, extra vehicular activity? Yeah, go outside in my spacesuit and get hands-on the outside of, and then at that point am I at greater risk of like solar radiation, micrometeorites, xenon bolts of lightning? Who knows? Yes, of course I am, but you've got to do what you got to do to complete the mission, and we did. And now we're in the home stretch. We're close to our where we're staying. There's a lot of cool places back here. I'm sure some are nicer than others, but it's a lot more residential than what it looks like from the bridge. I don't think we can quite see this far from the bridge. I was looking for IKEA just because that would be the easiest building to spot, since it's blue and yellow like that. But then again, you can't see Brooklyn Bridge from IKEA's dining room either, so it begs to reason that we weren't going to see that there from the bridge. But you can definitely see the area. You can definitely see some of the taller buildings, the more recognizable warehouses and stuff like that. So yeah, all's well that ends well. Let's wait for this car. He sounds like he's in a hurry. Okay, cross. So we get this breakfast burrito down, and then we got to figure out where we're gonna make our plays for tomorrow. I don't mind being here. This is nice and quiet, chill. I would love to have a little more all-day shade, because that other spot has shade pretty much all day. Not all spots, and then depending on what side of the street you're on, you may be getting morning sunlight, you may be getting afternoon sunlight, but for the most part, it's only midday that everything is kind of cooking in the sun, which of course is the hottest part, which of course is the part you're probably ducking out of the sun and staying cool anyway. But there's other places to do that. Now that we've been here for a while, we've sorted some of those places out. But we'll see how we feel after this burrito. And then here's the setup at night. See? That's nice. It's dark, it's quiet. That's shade. Obviously it's not daylight, so it's not going to be as effective to show you this way, but that shade comes down, the sun goes up rather on the other side of that building, and the sun comes up this way, so that cab is in the shade for a big part of the day. It's crazy. We're out here, you can see like, I don't know how many stars, but I could count them, maybe 40, 50 if I'm being ambitious about it. But come on this side, Luna. But this is a far cry from where we were out on that island by ourselves for like no light, no nothing, and you could see, honestly, I took all of the pictures that we took. I took I took Peninsula State Park in Door County, but where we were on Rock Island was, you know, also very dark, and then the moon came up later and we got to enjoy that for a while. I didn't do a lot of photography out there. This is a little museum, but man, what I wouldn't give to have that as like a house. That's like a bigger, longer, that's probably the longest double wide that you can imagine. Double wide mobile home. That's like 2 mobile homes, as long as they can make them, because I know those things got to have some sort of length limit. I don't know. Maybe that's 80 feet? I don't know. 80? Maybe like 70 feet. But then double wide as well. So call that 10, probably close to 20 feet across. Oh man, imagine having that. Imagine being able to live on that. Wild. Anyway, this is you know, that's pretty loud with these air conditioners up there. Those air conditioners, I'm sure, are the units for that building, for the apartment units in that building. And then this is like I'm not sure if this is like a laundry facility or something down here. Anyway, this is a nice, quiet spot. You know, that's the apartment gate right there. So traffic does come in and out eventually. Let me just turn this lens off. That fuzz is bothering me. That chicken grease. Let's see. There we go. That's a little better. But it's not, you know, those things are on the roof. By the time you get down here underneath the wall, the sound drops off substantially. And, you know, I mean, it's not, this is not the darkest tint. It's not like we're completely invisible, but this is not a bad situation. The other thing you want to do when you get a chance, now this guy I'm a little worried about. He's got his windows down. I'm hoping it doesn't rain. See how that was a slow start? Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that because I don't know what's drawing power. I don't know why the power's pulling on that big. That's a new battery. It shouldn't be doing that. All right, let's get Luna some water. Now we got to leave this running for a minute to make sure that we've got juice in the battery for when we do want to scoot. But you know, it's not completely tinted, but it's not bad. It's not bad. I mean, it's fine for me. Other people would not like it, but I don't mind it. I like waking up with the sunlight. You know, as long as it's not direct and going straight into my eyes. I feel like something's crawling in my shoe. All right, monkey brain, you want to hop up? Get some water. All right. You can see me in the reflection. Good night from Brooklyn.